The stage lights dim. The energy in the arena is just electric. You have 12 artists, and they are fighting for a life-changing prize.
We're talking $250,000, a record deal, a slot at Stagecoach. I mean, it's huge.
But this contest, the CBS docu-competition The Road, it wasn't just decided by the mentors, Keith Urban and Blake Shelton.
No, not at all. It was decided by the audience, the fans.
And they were rating the performances 1 to 10.
And that, right there, that's the flashpoint. The second those fan votes were tallied, they put some of the most, authentic, traditionally talented singer-songwriters right in the judges' crosshairs.
So it forced Urban and his guest judges to make these, incredibly controversial decisions.
Exactly. Cutting the very finalists the audience had actually supported in other weeks.
We are diving deep into that exact scenario. Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, we're really peeling back the curtain on this new reality format. It's a high-stakes experiment, executive produced by Taylor Sheridan and Blake Shelton.
Right, and we're analyzing what feels like a core architectural flaw, one that pitted, authentic, traditional talent against the demands of a massive mainstream touring audience.
And it all led to that shocking moment where the judges basically had to overrule popular opinion.
What's so fascinating to me here is the show's ambition. They wanted to find a genuine, ready-for-the-road touring act.
But that goal came into immediate conflict with how the judging was designed.
So today we're going to trace the journey of one contestant in particular, Jenny Tolman.
Yes, who experienced, really, the full cruelty of this system, only to find her true validation after the cameras stopped rolling.
Okay, so let's unpack this structural tension. The Road is a docu-competition. What does that actually mean?
It means it's not just about what happens on stage. It's half documentary.
Okay.
It blends these high-stakes performances with, these deep, personal documentary narratives.
So we're following the 12 musicians as they're actually touring across the country.
Precisely. Opening for Keith Urban. They're living together, they're dealing with being away from family, all of it.
And their mentor, their tour momager, as they called her, was Gretchen Wilson.
None other than the redneck woman herself. I mean, they had the industry infrastructure backing them, but here's the real problem.
The casting.
The casting was incredible. They brought in genuinely authentic, independent country artists.
People like Channing Wilson. He's this hard-charging outlaw country performer.
And his songs have already been recorded by huge stars like Luke Combs.
And they also found Jenny Tolman, who is known for these witty, character-driven songs, really rooted in classic Nashville traditions.
These are storytellers, the kind of artists you'd think Taylor Sheridan.
Whose work is all about that gritty, rural authenticity.
Exactly. You'd think he'd want to elevate them. But then, to your point, who's actually judging these artists?
The audience.
The audience who bought tickets to see Keith Urban.
Right, whose demographic is, let's be honest, polished, contemporary pop country.
Bright, sing-along anthems. So now you have a stadium crowd, all geared up for what I call champagne pop, and you're asking them to rate artists known for.
Artisanal whiskey.
Perfect analogy. Traditional, gritty, often slower, narrative-heavy songs. It's just a mismatch.
So was this friction intentional? I mean, did the producers just completely miscalculate?
I think critics would argue it's a massive miscalculation of that touring demographic.
They were looking for authenticity.
Yes. But they handed the keys to commerciality, the crowd's rating. If your music is centered on dark lyrics and grit, the hallmarks of outlaw country.
It's not going to immediately pop in a stadium built for sing-alongs.
Not automatically, no.
That's a high price to pay for being authentic. Early fan favorites like Channing Wilson had to adapt almost immediately.
Yeah, they realized they needed more up-tempo music just to survive the audience vote.
Yeah.
The system was just designed to reward that immediate broad appeal, not nuanced depth.
But wait till you hear how this constant need for crowd-pleasing numbers led to this really vulnerable moment for one singer.
The wardrobe malfunction?
Yes, and Keith Urban surprisingly used it as a coaching moment to keep her in the game. We'll unpack that next.
And if you are enjoying this deep dive into the business of fame and music, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next story.
Okay, let's look at how this all played out early on. Episode 2, in Dallas.
Right. So 6 of the 11 remaining artists performed a cover and an original song. The audience gives the raw data, the ratings from 1 to 10.
And then Urban and Shelton act as the final commercial filter?
That's a good way to put it. They decide who to cut from the bottom, too.
And stage presence was just everything here. Performers who got how to play to that crowd succeeded right away.
Take Brittany Kellogg. She had her holler and swaller tradition.
Which is literally taking a shot on stage.
Yeah, and Blake Shelton called it awesome. That kind of high-energy, relatable stage antic, it just instantly connects with the stadium crowd.
It's the ultimate contrast, isn't it? On one hand, you've got the gimmicks that get a reaction.
And on the other, you have the actual music. Channing Wilson, for example, he was the top-rated artist of that group.
Because of his songwriting.
Exactly. Urban himself said his original song, Drink That Strong, quote, kills his cover. So the audience can spot quality, but it has to be immediate.
And the judges were so focused on touring viability, Cody Hibbard got critiqued by Urban for singing too low.
Which isn't a critique of the song's quality.
No, it's a critique of its ability to project energy in a giant room.
Which brings us to Jenny Tolman's first major setback.
She was already struggling, right? First time away from her husband and child.
And then during her cover of Goodbye Earl, she has a minor wardrobe malfunction. Her blazer pops open.
Oh, that's just devastating under that kind of pressure.
She tried to joke about it, but she admitted it threw her off.
And that slip, that moment of vulnerability, landed her in the bottom too.
It did. Her and Olivia Harms. And this was a fascinating decision point for the judges.
They saw the malfunction, the dip in her confidence.
But Urban and Shelton ultimately chose to eliminate Olivia Harms. They carried Jenny through.
Why? What was their justification?
They said she had the edge on connecting with the audience, even in that vulnerable moment. I think they were testing her resilience.
So they chose the ability to connect and recover over, say, technical perfection.
It was a reprieve, for sure, but it just highlighted the constant, unforgiving pressure.
And it saved her that time, but that process was just wearing her down. It was setting the stage for what came next.
The ultimate test, where coachability and commercial consistency would finally eclipse her artistic peak.
Right. So let's jump forward. The pressure is just intensifying exponentially. We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Only the top 7 remain.
And the safety net is gone. Now they're performing only original songs.
And Blake Shelton is out. Guest judge Dustin Lynch is in.
This is where Keith Urban delivered the ultimate coachability test. He knew Jenny had been in the bottom group twice before.
So he pushes her.
He urges her to take a huge leap, raise the key signature of her original song, Married in a Honky Tonk.
Which is a really serious technical ask for a performer. Why was that so critical for Urban?
In a massive touring environment, taking a song up a key does 2 things.
Correct.
It forces the singer to project more powerfully, and it gives the song more lift, more energy. It makes it more of a stadium sing-along.
So it forces her away from that intimate singer-songwriter feel.
And into a high-octane performance model. Jenny herself called the ask uncomfortable.
But she did it.
She rose to it. She embraced the advice and delivered what the judges agreed, was her best performance of the competition.
She proved she could adapt her traditional sound to the commercial demands of a stadium.
But despite that artistic triumph, consistency always wins in the commercial world.
Right, because Cassidy Daniels, with her upbeat track, was once again the top vote getter.
Her 3rd time at the top. She solidified her frontrunner status by just reliably giving the crowd exactly what they expected.
And despite Jenny hitting her artistic peak, the numbers dragged her back down.
She landed in the bottom 2 again.
It must have been crushing to do your best, most coachable set and still face elimination.
It's the ultimate contradiction, isn't it? Urban praised her, said it was her best performance yet.
But she eliminated her.
Because it was her 3rd time in the bottom.
3 strikes.
This confirms the whole cold commercial structure we've been talking about. The judges weren't looking for the best performance of the week. They were acting as financial gatekeepers.
She was too high a risk for the grand prize investment.
Exactly. They needed a reliable, low-drama touring partner, so they chose reliability over that peak potential.
It's a brutal lesson in the economics of country music.
Absolutely. Her exit was heartbreaking, but what happened after the televised cut, that provided a blueprint for success for artists just like her.
So Jenny finishes 7th out of 12.
But her post-show reframing of the whole thing was, frankly, genius. She immediately separated her artistic validity from her commercial compatibility.
How did she put it?
She basically said her elimination was a failure to connect with a certain audience. Urban's demographic, not a lack of talent.
That's smart. And she leveraged the vulnerabilities that the docuseries format forced her to expose, right?
Totally. She had openly discussed having this identity crisis after her son was born, feeling like she was losing herself as an artist while being a mom on the road.
And that became her story.
That vulnerability became her currency. Remember the wardrobe malfunction?
Yeah.
She credited the producers for handling it tastefully.
Hmm.
And she started getting hundreds of messages from women who related to her as a nursing mother, trying to balance everything.
So she was able to deliberately focus her narrative after the show on being a mom on the road.
Yes. She used the network TV exposure to connect with an audience the show hadn't really served.
And that authenticity translated into viral content.
Massive, targeted viral content. Her song, Tell My Tank Is Empty, which wasn't even written about motherhood, suddenly started going viral on TikTok, specifically with moms.
Yeah.
And then her song about infertility, Maybe Next Month, connected with thousands of women online who felt completely seen.
This is the real insight then. She realized she didn't need to win over 15,000 mainstream Keith Urban fans every night.
She needed to win over 50,000 highly engaged niche fans online who relate to her specific, vulnerable story.
So the exposure allowed her to market her authentic content directly to her own audience.
It's a textbook example of using the, quote, failure of a mainstream competition to define a successful independent brand.
The cut, ironically, gave her the national profile without forcing her into a major label contract that would have pushed her back into that generalized sound.
And now she's working on her most authentic, most fun, and raw new music project.
She used the heat from network TV to generate momentum for her independent brand. It proves that sometimes failing to win a massive reality show can be the biggest strategic victory of all.
And if you're loving these breakdowns of the music business, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
Ultimately, the road was a tough lesson in commercial viability.
It really was. It showed that brutal intersection of artistry, coachability like Urban, forcing that key change, and the commercial demand of touring.
Enforced by that dreaded three-strike rule.
Jenny Tolman proved her stage readiness, her resilience, even if her sound wasn't what Keith Urban's specific fan base was consistently voting for.
The central tension of the whole series was that the audience vote defined the outcome, even though the judges had the final say.
They were forced to cut fan favorites, not because the talent was absent, but because the consistency needed for commercial reliability was missing.
Which raises the ultimate question for you to mull over. In this age of reality TV, does fan voting truly reward the most ready talent?
Or does it just reward the talent that's simply the most compatible with the headliner's existing predefined audience?
Is it a true talent search, or is it just a compatibility test?
You've been listening to The Deep Dive, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.